financial pants in the relationship? Does it even matter? Does it cause a strain on the relationship if the woman makes more than the man? Watch out there now. Tonight is part 6 in our series on love, dating, and relationships in 2021. It's time to jump off live. I'm yours truly, Jeff A. Smith, and I'm joined by the rest of Team Jump Off. We have the man, the myth, the legend, DJ, a.k.a. that dude named Dave. That's like 3 nicknames all in one right there. We also have JD and Johnny Dangerous. We're also joined tonight by honorary member of Team Jump Off and the YouTube star from Mike's Philippine Journey. Myk E is in the place to be. What's poppin', Mikey?
Nothing much, man. Just chilling.
Cool. We will be having Dr. Zoe on as usual. She's running a little late, but we expect her to be on the show as well, too. As you're watching the show, please be sure to like the video and subscribe. We're going to be taking some breaks throughout the show to remind you all to please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. Also, you can check us out on Zingo TV, channels 249 and 250. And if you're on the go, you can find us on your favorite podcast streaming app. So without further ado, DJ, kick us off.
Hey, fellas, good to be here. First of all, you know how we start this off. Gotta do that HBO special, help a brother out. Gotta do some housekeeping here, people. Click on the likes and subscribes. We gotta get the YouTube algorithm going. So while we get this housekeeping going, I've seen people joining the chat here. What's up, JR?
Yes, sir. What's up, JR?
What's popping, my man? Hey, we're gonna take a few seconds here. Click like and subscribe, people. We see you coming in. You know, I see 2 right now. Come on.
Trickling in.
Yeah. We ain't got nowhere to go right this second, fellas, right?
Don't worry, we'll wait.
Yeah, we'll wait. So okay, we'll get this going here in a few moments here. So cool. Yeah, shout out to JR. Man, talking about this dating life here, whether you're single, engaged, married, living with your significant other.
All of the above.
All the above, man. Yeah, you're right, Jeff. Hey. But these are serious conversations that we all want to have. Everybody wants to chime in and see what's going on with these things here. But one thing I want to say before we get started here is that all of us here who are best friends, this is not an echo chamber. So as much as we agree with each other, there might be some disagreements here now and then. That's fine. But at the end of the day, though, we're going to still tell each other we love each other and we're going to keep it moving as brothers. That's how we do this here.
No doubt.
Yeah.
You know? So as we're talking about finances, money, y'all.
Dollar bills.
Hey, see, we already in the same accord right now. We haven't been arguing yet, but we might get there.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go round robin here, guys. I want to start off. See, I've been normally going with some other people, but I want to start off with JD tonight. He's the honorary person to kick this off tonight. So JD, when you were formerly married, but you're now once again in a committed relationship, looking very happy, my brother, I must say.
He's glowing.
When you get that glow. Hey, for the ladies who's gonna come into the chat, is JD glowing? I think he's glowing.
If anybody ever wondered what happiness actually looked like, look at that brother right there. That's what happiness looks like.
Facts.
Relaxed intensity right now.
Facts.
Relaxed intensity?
Yeah. He holds it in well.
So JD, let's kick it off of you. We'll get everybody's info on this one here. So did you cap, or were you always true of your finances as far as letting your significant other know, as far as like your previous relationship and currently right now? Did you go all the way in, or you just kind of held back a little bit here?
No. I don't think that I had any sort of I wasn't in the business of trying to hide things, especially the second go around. The first go around, I started off broke. We were both broke, so it wasn't nothing to hide. Like, we both didn't have too much of anything. So, there wasn't a situation where we needed to hide anything. And then coming into the relationship that I'm in now, I definitely wasn't going to keep secrets about my finances. I believe that the more open you can be, just as a general rule of thumb, but even more so with finances, the more open you can be, the less surprises there are and potential for conflict in the end. I think that if you allow yourself to, hold back certain things, you don't want to lead off conversations like, hey, I got $30,000 in college debt. My name is JD. You don't want to start it like that. But
Man.
You know, if you feel the relationship is getting serious, yeah, you should disclose some things and let a person know that what they're walking into. Nobody wants to get into a committed relationship and get blindsided in the end.
Appreciate that, JD. He's not capping. He's keeping it 100. He's putting it all on the table. So with that same question, John, I know you're a little lethargic tonight. We gotta give John a little pep talk here. You know, we gotta pick him up. You know, he's a little down now. You know, so John, how do you feel about the same question here? Were you upfront right from the beginning, or did you kind of trickle in the information as we go? It was all on the table from Jump Street.
Man, I think for me in this particular situation, and of course, things are different now than they were initially when I started courting my wife. Actually, things are significantly different, I must say.
Keep it 100.
Keep it 100, right? Really wasn't a whole lot of finances to talk about. You know what I'm saying? Wasn't a whole lot of finances to discuss. And I think it's like JD said, it's not something that you want to lead with talking about finances, because, you know, most people, what you first start talking about, male or female, I think people will kind of take that information and, you know, it'll lead with that, you know, it'll start off.
I think, did we lose John here?
Y'all lost me?
No, I can hear him.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Nope, I can hear him.
I was gonna say I still see myself. I'm still here. Yeah, I think whatever you start off with, that's what kind of starts whatever kind of snowball that could be created in a relationship. And finances, as we know, which Myk will probably talk about shortly, the statistics behind it, that's the number one reason why people get divorced. It's the number one reason why people get divorced. And so to answer your question, Dave, no, I didn't start off talking about finances or anything. And whether I would have had it, because actually prior to my relationship starting, I had it. That 2008 real estate financial market crash, that changed the game for me and many others. And so
yeah,
I couldn't come in the gate talking about what I had, you know, but I ain't got it no more. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I think most people shouldn't start off like that, because you want to get people to know you for who you are and not for what you have, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Or don't have.
That does make total sense, John. So before we go to Jeff here, shout out to David in the chat here. Shout out to Dorothy. Shout out to James. Y'all chatting here. See what y'all got going on here. So Jeff, same question, bro. Was it all on the table, or was it like a slow little dribble?
I know it's a common theme going on with what JD said and what John said and what I'm about to say. It was on the table. I think that, and when I say on the table, when you're first meeting somebody, obviously you don't have to necessarily go into super great detail about, you know, necessarily any aspect of your life. But as you learn and grow with the person, I think it's good to be as transparent as you possibly can be. You know, you don't have to break down facts and figures and show your monthly budget on a first date. I'm not saying that. But I do think when people hold back certain information, either because they're ashamed of it or they're just not willing to come forth with it at that point, you know, it could, if you're ashamed of it, then that's a situation you need to really make sure that you reconcile within yourself. I know a lot of people may feel like they don't make enough money to be able to be dating a certain person, so they may want to hide that or put on airs or whatever the case may be. And that's that's an ego and a self-esteem thing, and that's a different conversation for a different day. But for me, I believe in being, transparent if you're really interested in a person. And I think it's a situation where it's all about the collective conversation. Finances play a role in that. Thoughts on religion play a role in that. Thoughts on parenting, if you all have kids, play a role in that. Just that type of thing. So yeah, I'm not in the camp of capping or lying about, what I'm saying, how much money you make. I'm also not in the camp of feeling like you obligated to put all your cards on the table at the beginning. It's a maturation, and it's a process. It's a work in progress as you're getting to know a person and discussing finances, because it can be a slippery slope as well too, especially if you all don't agree on finances in general. So yeah, you got to find a way to kind of broach those conversations.
Jeff, that makes total sense. So what you saying, like, It's almost like you do with Omarion, that song he made, Touch. You just touch on everything just a little.
Yeah. Boom, 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 boom.
Just touch on it a little bit, right?
Leave the lights on.
I could dig it.
Before I go to Myk E, once again, folks, let's get some more likes up here. I'm looking down. I see y'all commenting. I see y'all
See a
chatting.
Crystal K comment. Shout out to Crystal K, man. People still comment on Crystal K.
Yeah, I see y'all commenting here, but you know what? Though, click them lights up here. Y'all in the chat, y'all typing. You could have hit that one button already, and we could have kept it moving here. So I want to once again help a brother out. HBO special. Let's do this here. Shout out to Farsight, man. You're doing your thing, man. I'm glad you're in the chat, man. Shout out to Joanne Harris. How you doing? You in here?
Welcome, Joanne.
And also, we got a few new subscribers as I see this trickled in as the stream is going on right now. So shout out to the few subscribers that clicked on here. That's what's up. That's a little house clean. I'm gonna do that, every now and then. If I see something that's not right, I'm gonna tell people because y'all having a good time chatting in there. Go ahead and click that button.
Yeah, it's okay to pause and sweep the floors real quick. Make sure everything's tight.
Like Martin did that episode and he was at unemployment office. I got no problem getting these floors together.
Buffing floors. Try to hit me for my 77. Sorry, never mind. Go ahead.
Myk E, same question, my friend. I know you're the single one in the panel right now, but you was married at the time, man. You have in the last few episodes disclosed how many women you have talked to in the past.
I have never disclosed how much.
Not how much.
I have never disclosed how much it was.
No, how much. You gave us an idea. Like, we can kind of guess, maybe.
Give us that pimp perspective, Myk.
Yeah, we want to hear from you.
I talked to that much amount of women in a week. Now, so am I the only one here who asked for a credit check from his woman before he married her?
Wait. Rewind that back here, Myk. Wait. Say that one more time.
I asked for a credit check.
Like that?
Yeah. I said, listen. Like you had that experience and was like, I need some official papers. Yeah, so pretty much how I delivered it was like when you start having that feeling that you want to be with a person, you start talking a little bit more financials a little bit, right? But the thing though is women are smart. If they know what kind of job you do, they already know how much you make. Because they'll Google that. Women are smart that way. Guys, we're like, we don't really care much about the numbers on women regarding how much they make, really. It's like, because we're providers. We're like, we want to provide for her. It doesn't matter what she makes. If she's willing to, to join ways with me, I got her. That's how most honorable men think if they're going to get into a relationship with a woman marriage-wise. But at the very same time, for me, it was like, I told her, if this starts moving up, once that L word was delivered, I was like, all right, listen, if we're going to move this towards later on, are you open to sharing your credit check? And she's like, why? Well, here's the thing. I'm willing to give you mine. Actually, I already have mine because I get mine checked every 3 months. I have mine right here. But I would like it also to be able to make sure that you are open to doing this as well. Because that's what's going to show clearly how she's doing as well, in regards to that. And at the same time, as guys don't pay attention sometimes, there's one thing where what her credit is, and there's her debt ratio as well. So, if she went to a university or a college, she has about 30,000, 40,000 in debt. It's just, she went to a junior college, you good. So I already had this, knowing that the girl that, my ex-wife, she went to a pretty big university in Arizona. I knew right away she was at least $80,000 in debt. I just knew it. She's like, I'm getting my master's. I was like, shit. So, so I knew where she was. I was like 80. But by the time that we got married, it was down to 60, for some reason. So that's good for her. But I asked for a credit check. I said, listen, a relationship, no matter what, is a business deal. It's a merger of things, because if I have debt and you have debt, all of a sudden we in debt. So my thing was like, this is how it's going to start. The next thing is, I already told her, I said, listen, here's the plan. You can only have 2 credit cards by the time that we get married. That was it. I said, you can only have 2 credit cards on you. And because I don't want any because there's no need to have more than that. There's just not. If a woman starts saying, well, but I want to increase my credit, yeah, they're going to keep on giving you credit, my dear. No problem at all if your credit is good, but we can't do that at risk because you're going to put yourself at risk financially. So before her and I got married, I knew her credit score. I already knew how much before I popped the question, actually, I already knew how much she was in debt by. I knew what her debt ratio was. I knew how much she's paid off in her house. All of those things were important to me because I need to know what I'm putting myself into. I'm not saying I'm not going to marry you if you're like straight up down, whatever, but I wanted to know what that situation was going to be between me coming in. So, and so, I mean, am I the only one here who asked for a credit check?
Hey, Mike, real quick, Mike. So
What's up?
you said her down. You already had a credit report and everything pulled up before you even asked her that question.
I did.
didn't even know you had the paperwork. She's like,
I actually, the truth is, I already had her credit report because I went with her to purchase
see if she
her car.
capping.
Right.
He's like,
what's this?
She's like, I'm gonna buy a car. I was like, really? I said, I don't recommend a lot of guys to go with a girl to buy a car with because you might get one of those. Can you co-sign for me? But I knew she was gonna get approved anyways because the whole time I knew her, she's been saving up for a car. I mean, do you guys remember the Geo Metro 3-door?
Yeah.
Geo Metro.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
JD.
I
had a Geo
My
Metro.
ex-wife.
Yes, you did.
My
We rode in that
ex-wife
bad boy.
drove one of those. She drove one of those for 10 years. And so I knew she had money saved up. So when she's like, I want to go buy a car, I was like, want me to go with you? And sure enough, she was getting it done when she got it credit checked. I looked at the guy and I said, listen, you want $100 on you? And he's like, yeah. What's the number in the credit score? And he's like, I got you. Gave him $100. Got me my credit score. I was like, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Extra copy, put in my pocket.
Wow. I have a comment on that, but Dave, do you want to go ahead and give
go
your
ahead,
perspective on it? Because I want to hear your perspective on what the answer to the original question. But the only comment I was going to say, and you can go after that, is so yes, credit was definitely discussed. It wasn't in the way that you did it, Mikey. It was part of the evolution of the conversation before we got married. So we talked about how finances are important. Part of that is looking and checking, credit scores, talking about financial goals as a unit and everything like that. So yes, definitely before I was married, during the courting process, we did discuss credit and look at each other's, credit reports and scores and talk about, okay, here's where we are. Where do we want to be moving forward? So yes, it was part of the process.
And I see people calling me, controlling or crazy. I wasn't controlling at all. I was asking. She has every right to say no to it. But then if she says no, then we're going to have a whole other question because what are you hiding? I mean, it's no difference that, it goes back and forth where somebody asks you, I mean, it is a very important thing because the thing goes, how many, like we're talking about 63% of all marriages ends because of financial problems. So why put yourself in that particular situation? If a woman is offended by that, shouldn't they be happy enough that as a man, we're trying to be, proactive to something like this that can happen? If a person's scared because I'm asking for a credit check, I mean, would a car dealer give you a car if you don't want to get your credit check?
That's a valid point.
Good point, Mike.
I don't think there's anything wrong with inspecting what you expect. It's just about how you go about doing it.
Exactly.
That's why you do it full forward, saying that, listen, I'm like, just let you know, I already had my credit check ready. I said, here's my credit check, and now I didn't have her credit check yet when I did that. I said, I'm giving you this opportunity. Here's my credit check. Here's my Experian and all that stuff. Do you want it? She's like, no, I don't want to see it. Perfect. But just let you know, I want to see yours. And I'm saying is I don't need it now, but I do need it when the time comes that if we take this relationship to the next step, then we can do that. But of course, I got it before she gave it to me.
Interesting. So I want to go to the chat here. What Mike did it's popping right now. We see y'all going in right now. Has anybody asked for a credit check for your significant other? And here's another question: if anybody ever got a credit check and then broke up after you saw that credit check.
Ooh.
Could you?
Ooh.
Hey, I want to go to no. I feel John's perspective on this one here. John, if you ran a credit check and you saw like a 490, what would you do?
Are we talking about horsepower under the engine of a car? Or are we talking about
I mean,
credit? You know what I'm saying?
480 on a whip is pretty decent, you know. But we ain't talking about banging them corners.
Hey, she got to be driving a Dodge Challenger 392 with a kid under the hood. Now, man, you know that's
like you in love, John, but it's 495. You in love.
Shit. You know what, man?
It's put a deposit on 20% down.
I know, right? Hey, look, man. I think, wow, it's a deep question. There's so many facets to that because a lot of people will believe that you can't control falling in love, right? I kind of beg to differ. That's probably a whole nother conversation.
Mhm.
I think before you give your heart to somebody, it might be important to make sure you find out a little bit more about them, you know. But I think that totally depends on if I was single. It depends on where I was in life. You know what I'm saying? At the time, if I had the bag and my credit is great and I got everything, like Mikey was saying earlier, you know, it's not really such a big deal financially that a woman has all of that because we're providers and supporters by nature, I think. You know what I'm saying? But we definitely have to have some type of goal and plan put together. If I'm real, I gotta like really be feeling her. You know what I'm saying? Because obviously with that 490, I'm probably gonna take on some challenges. But if you got that bag, you can make all that, you can make that number go away and create a whole nother number. You know what I'm saying? You can switch them numbers around, you know, instead of it being like a 480, 490, you put an 8 in the front and a 4 and then a 0. You could do that if you got that bag.
Social if you want to, John.
Yeah, you could. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, if you already got that bag and established, you probably ain't gonna put nothing in her name anyway.
Oh,
I'm saying, you know what I'm saying?
Wasn't me this time.
John, that was a jet. Wait, John, I gotta reel that back in. Say that again. Say it again, John. You laughing? Nah, you meant that. Say it again.
I'm just saying, like in that particular scenario, if you, and I'm not so much as saying as myself, but if there's a guy that has a lot of money, already established, has businesses, has multiple streams of income coming in, and he meet a lady, he not really looking for her to have that type of money or match his finances. And if she got a 490 or 480 credit or whatever, you know, he probably, if he's continuing to build his business, he's more than likely not going to use her status to continue that plight that he's already, you know what I'm saying, accomplished, if that makes sense.
Yeah, if I could jump in real quick.
Yeah, I want to go to you, JD.
Jump off, JD.
Yeah. No, I think that it's about building that total picture of the person who you're trying to date or who you're interested in. I think finances are a part of that. You should know. I don't think I wouldn't necessarily go Mike's route and you know, have my credit report just already printed out, folded up, you know, ready to slide it to it with my number on the other side. But I think that it is important that you do know and at least discuss your financial past. There shouldn't be any surprises. There shouldn't be a situation where you walk into a relationship and you get deep into the relationship and you have this discussion and you know, that topic comes up and you end up, you know, moving past it or not really fleshing it out, and then you get to, you know, further on in a relationship and you get married, and then all of a sudden you see that big fat 80 burger sitting on their debt. You know, that's a situation that you don't want to have. So as long as those situations and those topics are discussed, I think it's okay. I don't know if you necessarily need to go the full, you know, like credit report route. Because I think that inherently says that if you have the conversation, you still want the credit report, that says that you don't trust the person and you're not taking them at their word. So I think that means that there are some other issues there too. So, But yeah, I don't inherently have a problem as long as you have discussed these topics ahead of time.
But what if she lied? What if she said
Ooh.
all
Now-
that stuff and then you sealed the deal finally, you pop the question, put the ring, then all of a sudden she lied to you.
You have
And-
betrayed me.
You know, and for the ladies, before I get crucified in the chat room, same thing for you ladies. What if the man lied to you that by the time that you got married to him, you know, 'cause the thing though is the women sometimes they jump into it right away. Reverse the question, like if it was the guy who was doing it to you, okay, ladies, before you just start jumping into that stuff. And so that's the biggest problem with that is that what if they lied? So the thing though is the I'm not worried about the credit score. I'm worried about her spending habits. I'm worried about her if she is not able to pay a bill on time, and we all have made those mistakes. Let's be honest about that. I'm not a perfect person, but when I was finally heard of what they call direct withdrawal or direct payment for the minimum, that could have been done easily, right? So the problem with that is, imagine who holds on to the money when you're married. Let's be honest. The women controls the spending, right?
No,
Hold on.
not in
No.
my household. It's a
When
mutual
they need to
thing.
purchase stuff, they'll make some of the major normal regular purchases, okay? And so we make the money most of the time, but women, that's why advertisers goes after women. Women are the ones that are advertised to because they know that women make the decision on spending. You may still give them the credit card, but they still made a decision what they wanted to buy in regards for groceries and most of that stuff. That's how it is in advertising. So the thing with that is, imagine if if she's going to be paying late. Imagine if there's these extra credit cards that has been cut up but still exists. It's not being controlling, it's actually making sure that we are starting this relationship, at least in certain boxes checked. And listen, because there's other things that can happen as well in a relationship, obviously with me, right? And it's not because I was controlling. I mean, Dave knows my history and stuff like that with that. So, but we don't have to go fully into that stuff. And the truth is, when I got into my relationship, she was looking at me as a nurse. That's all she did. And I tell her I run businesses, but it didn't, for some reason, put two and two together till after we were married. And then she starts seeing all my bank statements. And she's like, where did this come from? She thought I was some crook. She actually thought I was a gangster. She actually had to ask me a question. She's like, where's this money coming from? I'm like, didn't I tell you I run a business? Well, yeah. Didn't I tell you I run a home health business? Yeah. Didn't I tell you I run a healthcare education school? Yes.
I teach people how to sell drugs.
Basically I do. Right? So all that stuff, and she's just like, but I didn't understand. I was like, I told you everything. So she came in, her eyes were opened up. She's like, really? But that's the thing. It's like, what if she lied? Or what if he lied? Are you still gonna marry her? Or was your marriage started off with lies already?
She thought you was a Filipino gangster. Chin Gigante.
Man, Mike,
Gigante.
that's a lot there, man. I want to get to the chat here. It's popping right now. Shout out to Joanne. I'm going to get to a couple of these questions here that I'm seeing here. And I wanted to get a few comments here about that, the credit check. I didn't do a credit check, but my wife actually did a background check on me.
Oh.
Yeah, because she's a teacher and everything. So, and she's working in HR. So, of course, she got to do background checks when they got to hire people. Yeah. So, I think of 2 months in, she had told me, yeah, I had to run a background check on you. I said, you didn't find anything, did you?
I got all of that erased.
Well,
he purged his background check beforehand.
$35 at the Joliet Sheriff's Department.
Oh my goodness. Jeez.
I ain't gonna front though. I felt some type of way at first. I was like, yo, you ran a background check? I never had that done before. Man, should I feel violated? Should I feel some type of way you went? And then I looked, I was like, well, she's doing her due diligence, so I ain't mad at her. She's the first one to do that. So, she know what she want. Hey, gotta do what's right.
Hey,
So-
she turned you on. You start rubbing your nipples and everything. You was like, "Hey."
Before I had hair, I was like this. Hey, John, if I had hair back then, I'd be like this, you know? I'd be like, hey, you know?
Wow. Hilarious.
But I want to get to the chat here, man. Y'all get into it tonight. So let me scroll back up here. Give me 1 second while we're doing this house cleaning here. We need some more likes. Well, I see a lot more has came on since I said that. So once again, people click on like again. Let's do this
Hey,
house
Dave.
cleaning.
Tara made had a good question. She said,
I'm going to her right now. Actually,
sir.
I wanted to go to that question because I want to start with that one because that actually kind of applied to me to a bit here. So let me. I think this is the one here. Does credit matter if one of you have everything that both of you need going into a relationship? And then she also had one more question that I wanted to put both of them on here. And this one as well. What if someone's credit is low due to someone not having credit history?
Yeah, are you okay if I chime in?
Well, let me get this one first here.
Okay.
Let me. I can chime in directly because when I first met my wife, I didn't have a lot of credit history. I was
Okay.
always to the mantra to the point where that if I can't afford to pay for it, I don't need to charge it. I was
Mhm.
always stacking money and then I have savings and then I'll pay for cash. Now it's my mental discipline as far as my spending habits. But then I realized you ain't got credit, you ain't got nothing. You know, because about a year into a relationship, I was like, yo, I can't do this, or I'm not getting the rate that I want on this here. So to answer your question, Tara, if you have that credit history that's low, a person should have cognizance and want to get that ish fixed. I was cognizant that I knew that I wanted to marry her. And so I was like, I was not going to go into this arrangement knowing that my credit was janky. So I went into overdrive for like the next 2.5 years that got the medical bills cleared out and built my credit history where I'm looking up now and I'm like, man, credit cards just coming in left and right now. Credit will change your life. Oh my God. You know, so let's go to you, Jeff. Because I know for me, it was a no-go. I wouldn't even get married until I got my credit fixed. So let's go to you now.
Yeah, that's well said. I think it just goes back to what I said in my previous point too. It's just all about communication, and that's part of if you're looking to build a life with somebody and everything like that. These type of topics need to be broached, need to be discussed, and it's how you discuss them. Going back to like, for example, your previous question, Dave. You know, if you found out somebody has a 490 credit score, is that game over? Well, I really echo some of Stevie's sentiments. To me, you have a deeper conversation. So you want to find out the rationale behind why the score was so low. Maybe they were helping out a family member and they got in debt because of, you know, something that wasn't even necessarily was something out of their control, or maybe it was bad spending habits, whatever the case may be. But I think that it's good to get as much out on the table as possible. Recognize that, you know, nobody is perfect. And then if you can figure out a plan moving forward of how to agree to terms on how you're going to proceed with finances in your relationship, then you should be okay. I know to Mikey's point, you know, if somebody lies to you, that's a totally separate thing. You have to figure it out too. Like if you're starting off the relationship lying to somebody, then again, that's mistrust, and that's obviously a deeper issue that will have to be broached as well too. But as far as, you know, before marriage, I think it's perfectly fine to have these conversations. It's just how you go about doing it. I don't like it to be a situation where, because again, and this is a theme I've been talking about in a lot of our relationship series. A lot of posturing seems to go on. People come, they meet at the table and it's okay. Let me get your credit report. Let me get this. Let me, you know, what's answer this question, answer that question. It doesn't have to be, you know, here's a question, here's an answer, here's a question, here's an answer. Grow and maneuver and learn together. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to necessarily be me versus you. We can figure this out together. That's typically how I broach these type of conversations, these type of topics. So
that is true, Jeff. You're right about that. Every circumstance is different. You never know, something could occur where that it could, you know, balloon crash your credit. Especially I forgot who it was it John said earlier about the 2008 collapse. A lot of folks' credit was jacked by that. You know, whether if you had a crib and you had to walk away from it, or whatever, you lost your job and everything else went to the fan at that point in nature. So what, 13 years ago, 12 years ago, a decade ago, depending on when you lost your job, circumstances do occur. Also, like you said, what happens if, you know, someone's just freaking irresponsible and you in love with that person? That's a whole nother dynamic. I wanted to come back in because what I was saying a moment ago is that with my wife, she actually had great credit. That's what actually made me get my credit right, because there was a situation where my car was messed up and I could have used cash. And I was like, man, I need to spread this out. And my other credit cards, you know, wouldn't cover it. It wasn't high enough. Man, her limit was looking Mighty nice. That was that turning point. I said it was on there, and we still took a trip. And I was like, time to get this right, fellas, because this kind of living, just because you got cash, you know, cash is king, but sometimes you got to go to that emergency fund there so you don't deplete all your funds and savings. You know,
And that's the true. That's a true
responsibility there.
And that's a true silver lining in a relationship when you can elevate each other. Somebody you can learn from your partner a behavior or a skill that elevates you from where you are, and vice versa. That's beauty. I love that.
And I want to say this, and I'm going to go to John after this. When a man wants to do something, it has to be on his own terms. She didn't tell me to get my credit. She didn't know these things here. But when I saw that, and the light bulb clicked on saying, I can't do this. What if I'm with her, any other woman? I can't do right if I don't have my ish together. So it took a certain scenario, but it took me to get off that high horse and get the job done. Yo, John.
Yeah, man. I'm loving the transparency here. So it's really a beautiful thing. To piggyback on what that statement that Jeff just made, and to respond to what I had said earlier. That's just one scenario. Every situation is different. Everybody's circumstances is different. Timing that you get with somebody, you know, your age and all that, all these different things are factors that will determine how you go about, you know what I'm saying, making that relationship work. First of all, that person has to be worth it. If you're going to build together, period. Doesn't matter if they got good credit, bad credit, or whatever. They have to be worth it for you to look forward and say, hey, I want to spend the rest of my life with this person. You know what I'm saying? On the other side of the spectrum, most people start off relationships. You know, somebody may not have that bag. You know what I'm saying? I talked about the man having that bag, and you know, there's a beauty in two broke people getting together.
There's a getting out the mud.
Absolutely, man. When two broke people get together and they understand where they are and they set goals together and build together, it's really a beautiful thing because you truly get to know your partner for who they are. And you know for a fact they're not with you for your money or your finances. To see that seed being planted, to germinate it, work together, to educate. See, what happens a lot of times, you know, that person that you're feeling, they may have low credit or not have any money. It may not even be their fault. They might have had a medical situation. They may have came from the mud and their parents never taught them financial responsibility because their parents didn't know and their parents didn't. There's a lot of generational curses that a lot of people have carried the weight of on their back going into relationships. And so you can't really break that curse until you find something or someone to help you to combat that. And a lot of times we don't even think in that manner. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's good to give people the benefit of the doubt, and you have to be able to communicate and work together in order to build from that. But if y'all both started from the bottom, it really shows that y'all truly loved each other and y'all went through the mud, y'all went through hell, y'all went through the fire together to build and to accomplish something. You can look back on that plight. Not only can you be an example to others, but man, you can really say, man, we built our relationship together. We started off with nothing. We started off from the bottom. Now we're here. It really makes for a strong bond, a relationship, and an example to your children and other people around you. And so you got to be open-minded. You don't have to be, but I think those relationships are the ones that stick and stay. Think about the old school people. You know, old school marriages, people that married 70, 80, 90 years, a lot of them started from nothing. They stayed together through thick and thin. You know what I'm saying? Hell and high water, you know, and they wasn't going to break up regardless. But now people get married and 2 weeks later, they get divorced because they don't know nothing about that, sticking and staying and building together, you know. So pass that back.
Better for worse, right, John? For better for worse, right?
Yes, sir. More than just words, right?
Facts. Before I go to JD here, I just want to say to the chat, switch up a little bit here. Where you from? Post it in there. You know, some of us here from Chicago. We got other people in other areas, you know, Iowa. Won't say who that's from, where they're at. But yo, where you from? Post in the chat here. We want to know where are people who subscribed, who was chatting, who's causing all kinds of shenanigans in there, starting arguments and whatever like that. And all love. Where y'all from? Philippines? Y'all repping with Myk E over here. What's the deal here? So, you know.
Shout out to everybody from Pennsylvania. I see some
Pennsylvania?
Transylvania.
Oh, Transylvania. Yeah.
Oh,
Shout out to the Vamps. Vamp
Oh.
life.
The bloodsuckers.
bloodsucker.
Bloodsuckers.
Also, too, well, we don't have Dr. Zorn yet. She had a family emergency.
Yeah.
Her parents just moved back to Jamaica. And so obviously there's flooding going on. So her and her brother are trying to reach communications over there. So hoping the best for her family out there in Jamaica. If anybody else is having any problems out there as well.
Definitely.
I'm saying that.
Love to get the female perspective. Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, I'm saying that though. This is the invitation only for the ladies in the chat, not for the men right now. Going forward here, I'm giving invitation that when Dr. Zoe is on, and if we don't have any other women, if you're ready to cam up, we'll drop the link and you can come on these discussions too as well. Only for the women. It could be this episode or future episodes. You got your iPhone, you got your iPad, and you're ready to cam up and get in the discussion. Come on in. Let us know. Let us in the chat here.
Yeah, or if you have something.
Though. You have to have a pretty smile. You got to. That's the only criteria. You got to have a pretty smile if you're
gonna. And we won't check your credit report in order for you to be on the show. So you don't have to worry about that.
Not
now, Myk may do it on the low. Myk may do it on the sneak tip, but I'm not gonna broach that conversation and then do that.
I used to have access.
Hey, we're coming here. Hey,
here's a good question.
Real fast. We got Pedro from Toronto. We got Mark in New Jersey.
Newark,
Quad Cities.
Okay.
But here's a question I have. Like, and for everybody listening also, write down your answers to this. My question is, since we're talking about the 490 credit score, like which one, you can only choose one. Which one is more important to you? Like, let's say somebody says their credit score is 490 or they have a debt of $75,000. Which one of those is a deal breaker for you guys? One, if the credit score is 490. Two, if they have a debt of $75,000 or more. Which one is a deal breaker for everyone?
I think personally, it depends on your financial status and if you're willing to bring that person up. Like if you have the means to nurture their credit along with the relationship,
I understand that credit score.
So like for me wise, I'll take a $75,000 debt with good credit over a 490.
Really?
Yes. Because the 70,000 can be dealt with as long as she's paying it. That means she has good credit. So she has good history to be able to run the money. Whereas somebody who has a 490 with no money in the bank, or with, let's say, some money in the bank, but 490, which shows bad decisions in the past. I understand, like, there's that, we talk about the parents not teaching the kids the proper way. Nobody teaches anybody about financial literacy anywhere in this world, right? The moment you turn 18, your credit, Chase Bank is sending you your initial credit card applications. Right. Or back in the days with First Chicago, if you guys remember that stuff.
Oh yeah.
So so that's the thing. Which for you guys, one listening, and how about you guys? Which one would you choose? No, just literally say which one it is.
Yeah, that's
okay. I would choose the credit score. I feel like I could change that credit score in 2 years, and it'd be a little bit more difficult for me to work on the 75K or 70K.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a tough question because I don't like to look at things in the vacuum. But if I have to look at it in the vacuum, I would definitely go with the low credit score and no debt.
Yeah, likewise. That credit score, man, knowledge is power. I think I kind of know a few ways to bump that score up. You know what I'm saying? I can bring that score up. At 75,000, you know what I'm saying? We talking, I got to use some liquid cash to break that down. I could take 75, put that in some type of business, do something with that versus paying down that debt. So I had to get that credit score. That credit score, I can bump that up without it costing much, but time. That 75,000 will take time and money.
Give me the woman with the low credit score.
Yeah,
debt is a mofo. Matter of fact, I would not be with my current wife right now if the woman a few years before her actually did not have the crazy debt. Because she even told me, I don't think I'm gonna get married. I mentioned the show. So I don't think I'm getting married because if I got married, my husband would get that debt too. I would, I'm gonna tell
You
you
said
why.
that out loud?
You know, and I realized it's like, yo, she been a career student all these years. She been going to school, getting this master's and this degree, and every time something lose a job and go right back and go back to school again. Next, you know, she got 3 or 4 masters. I'm like, no wonder you got 6 figures in debt. Nah, you know,
No, it's a lot of people do that. A lot of people do that, man. That's something you just mentioned. Wow.
Well,
yes,
they go
John.
to school because of bad relationships. Most women
Yes.
tend to go back to school after they had a bad relationship.
True.
It's they want to upgrade. Oh, let me upgrade. You're one of the
This
things
is
I've
this is
actually learned.
surprising to hear this. Go ahead, Mike.
Wait a minute, Jeff.
I
You
want to know what the
never heard this,
correlation
Jeff?
is.
No,
I haven't heard this
I
correlation.
haven't
This
either.
is
It's called
news to
career-
me.
Before you get in, Mike, it's
moving
called
up.
career students.
Leveling them up. That's what. But what these women are not understanding is you're gaining knowledge, but you're also losing potential mates, and they don't understand that. So that's why also as they start going to school, everyone knows when you go to college you gain weight. So if they gone to 3 masters, they got some 3 master layers going on in their bodies as well.
In their bodies? What you mean by that?
You know, a couple extra rolls. You know, one muffin top that's for
Yeah,
one
you
education.
just went to
Second
Myk
muffin
Island
top
again.
that goes
Yeah,
for,
he did. He went to
Yeah,
Myk Island like a
yeah.
mofo. But I want to know what John. You said you've seen that too. Women going to school in lieu of relationships.
Yes, man. Yes. Now that I think about the correlation, it happens.
Okay, because I
quite
hadn't seen
often.
it. So
Yeah, a lot of times, coming out of a relationship, and this is not to diss women or anything. I'm all about elevation and education and continuing on your, building yourself up. But for some reason, from what I've seen, a lot of women, more so women than men, they end up going back to school because that's the answer to them to upgrade themselves so they look more appealing to their next. I was gonna say victim to be funny, but to the next man. You know what I'm saying?
wow, I haven't. I mean, I haven't been privy or haven't recognized that. Wow, I didn't. This is all news to me.
Yeah,
Oh,
man.
yeah, this is what actually happens here, Jeff. And this is actually more prevalent in the Black community, where that have a relationship and have a bad breakup, and then what do people do? Normally, the right thing to do is get therapy, get time to yourself, to healing, and then get back on that dating market. But what happens in the Black community is that women actually believe that your sexual marketplace higher by the more education that you have. So what happens is that they're constantly going back to school and getting more degrees after a failed relationship. Or what happens is that they never get back into a relationship and they go into this habit of going to work and going to school. And next, in my situation, this woman had 3 or 4 degrees, racked up 6 figures in debt. And now that she's in her 30s, and think about it, if you're a man and you see a woman in her 30s with 6 figures in debt, it's like, yo, that's not a suitable mate, because I'm going to acquire that debt. And this is actually an ongoing issue in the community because so many women are actually doing this, going to college to make themselves better as far as a financial standhold, when men don't even look at that part there. But when we look at finances, that adds debts and that lowers your dating pool to get the man that you actually really want.
What are men doing?
Men work. We're building up our kingdom. That's what men do, right? I mean, that's what men are doing, learning technical stuff, whatever. But it's not just because of breakups, but it also goes to the fact is where do most women find their mates? In school. You have a higher chance to meet your future husband, your future wife while you're in college because you're among multiple people that's in your age, likeness, and all that stuff. So for some reason, a lot of women end up back in school thinking that, but every time they start moving up, there's less and less men going to those stuff. So they end up being classmates with a bunch of women, and they're hanging around with all the single ladies. And hang out with the single ladies, you're gonna stay single forever as well. Single friends keeps a woman single.
I like to think that there's and obviously I don't have any statistics to back this up, but I like to think that there's a variety of things that women do in order to level up, and men too, in between relationships, as opposed to just being men chasing the bag, women chasing the degree, and that's it. I think self-development, generally speaking, probably is something that people try to focus on as well too, in between relationships, to figure out, okay, what did I do in a relationship that didn't work? What can I do to continue to I'm not talking about education wise or necessarily financial wise, but really getting in tune with yourself in order to put your best foot forward to attract the mate that you want.
Actually, that's not true. Jeff. Well, actually,
You say?
occurring. That's actually not true within the Black community. Because what I was mentioning is that people are not going to therapy. People are not getting professional help when they're going through these type of things.
Yeah.
And these are actually stats. They're showing that when people are actually going back to school, they're not getting the proper help. Matter of fact, if you ask anybody if they ever go to therapy, a lot of women will say, "No, I don't need that." It's been more now. We're seeing the mental health awareness being shed and spread out more. But no, what happens? You go to school and you bury yourself in your books. You're not even preparing yourself for the dating pool. Because think about it, when you're dating, you need practice to get at it. But if you're not even dating anybody, you're stuck into that last year where you actually were dating someone. So let's say that you are a student who just does casual dating, but you never dated somebody to like after high school, 18, 19 years old. You're still stuck in that 19-year-old standpoint. So when you're not dating and you're going to school and you're adding all these extra things in here, that's not actually increasing your marketplace or the better you pull find that suitable mate. And that's what we're seeing here, that by the time you get done with school, you're in your 30s and you're still having a 19-year-old mind state when it comes to dating.
I would say
I'm using that as an example of like 19, but that had wherever you stop dating and you focus on school. Well, if you broke up with your sweetheart at 21 and now you're 29, you want to get back in the game. You're still stuck in a 21-year-old's mind state when it comes to dating. How are you supposed to go out to get back out there when you're now 8 years behind the 8 ball? And that's another example, but that's what we're seeing more and more when people are engulfing the school and not putting more of this emphasis on relationships and on people. Because life's about experience of relationships, not about your education, your background. Because at the end of the day, when you're 50, 60 years old, you can't work, but you want those relationships to be with you. And we're not putting those focuses on that.
Yeah, it's either going back to school or hitting the gym hard.
Yeah, I saw that comment about the gym.
Yeah.
Yeah, the school thing, again, this is like Myk E and Johnny Dangerous. You all have, taught me something that I didn't know. Seeing from what y'all have seen firsthand.
Yeah.
JD, I want to hear your opinion on this here. Have you seen this, or if this is new to you as well?
No, it's definitely new to me. That wasn't something that I had noticed before. I guess looking at it, from the outside looking in, now I can see some people that I know that have been in relationships and those have ended and they have, sort of went back to school. I think a lot of times the way our conversation, at least the way that I'm looking at it right now, I think that there's a tendency to place a sort of negative stigma towards the women who are going back to school to better themselves.
Yeah,
and I don't think that's necessary. I mean, if you want to better yourself, I don't think that there's a problem with bettering yourself, regardless of what the justification for or the reason for you going, or the reason for you to do whatever you're doing to better yourself. At the end of the day, you're bettering yourself. So if it took that negative relationship and turning that into a positive by going and grabbing a degree, more power to you. I just don't think that we should attach a negative sort of connotation to it. Like, oh, I failed at a relationship, I guess I better go get this degree because these degrees are going to keep me warm at night.
That's what's happening, JD, though.
But then it goes to the other end of stuff. Is like, did they really go to school because they want to change themselves because they just got out of a relationship? Because if they are, then they're using the school system as therapy or as a way to run away from the current situation that they're in. So the problem with that is, fine, you want to go get your education. I'm not going to hit that on you, but at the very same time is, I better not hear a peep out of you that you can't find a man. And the problem is when they get out, when they're in the middle of the school, that's when they start popping and be like, oh, it's so stressful. I want a man, this and that, for most of them. And then all of a sudden, when they get out of school, they're like, oh, 3 years later, because they got their master's, and then 3 years older, and then they're going to complain that I can't find a man. That's the problem right there. Don't use something, do education for you. Just like what Jeff said, it's about, improving yourself. It's about finding something for that. So the thing with that is, don't use school as a therapy, as a thing, as a crutch to move on from your heartache. You're running away from something by clouding your mind with education, trying to study to keep your mind off this school when you're not taking care of yourself. You know?
also think when we're on the outside looking at somebody else, if I'm a man looking at a woman or a woman's looking at a man, and this is my perspective, I try to assume positive intent as to why a person is doing what they're doing. So I try to go into situations saying, okay, if this is what they're choosing to do with their life, I'm trying to assume that it's for a positive reason. You know what I mean? I think we have to remember to. I mean, if that works for you, to try to assume positive intent as well too, because some of the stuff I'm hearing with you, Mikey, is like, yeah, you can do this, but don't come back in 2 years. Like, you know what I'm
I don't
saying?
want to
Like,
hear it.
In
true,
fact, though, Jeff,
but
there's
if you go into it
consequences.
assuming this, oh, in 2 years she go do this, then you know what I'm saying? It's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you're
I did no, I did not prophesize. If I prophesize that, I rather prophesize what lotto numbers I'm gonna win. But the thing though is that all of a sudden the secret of if you say it, it will come, that I attracted that girl to make that decision for her to come out later on. So when she start whining that she can't find a man, I'm at fault all of a sudden. I
not at
don't
that.
think
That's
so.
not. It's not a fault thing. I just think if you have these negative seeds planted in your brain, it's not necessarily. I'm not saying it's going to attract more negativity, but if you're thinking of the downside of a scenario, that if you're thinking of the potential downsides of a scenario more so than the potential upsides of it, then that's going to inform your decision making process in the relationship. That's all I mean.
But I'm not going to be in that relationship with that girl. So what my thing is, like, let's be specific here. I'm like, each individual is different.
Mhm.
I'm not going to say that every woman that does this, but we're seeing this in the staggering numbers because we are seeing this starting to happen. So the problem with that is, okay, we don't have an associated number fully, but we're seeing a lot of women going back to school because of bad relationships. My thing is, I'm not going to go for those type of women anyways, because why do you still want to keep on going to school when you're like in your 35, 36? Now, if you're married with somebody and you want to level yourself up, then I get that, because you're trying to build something with your man, with your your significant other, either man or woman. But for a woman to, if you already have, this is the funny thing, like, because I'm in the nursing industry, I see so many nurses who already have their bachelor's degree, yet for some reason, when they're 40, 35, 40, they want to go back to school to get their PhD in nursing. For what? What are you going to do with a PhD in nursing? You can't prescribe medications. You want to get your master's in nursing. For what? Just because I want it. You end up still working at a nursing home. You still want to work in the hospital, but not in administration. What's it for? If it's just for yourself, Mike, there's other things you can learn. Learn knitting. Heck,
But the
learn
thing,
other
the thing
things.
about that, Mike, is if somebody wants to do that because it feels like it gives them an intrinsic value, it doesn't have to be extrinsic, an intrinsic value, then that's okay. That's okay. It could be nothing attached to it but intrinsic value. They just feel better because they have that notch in their belt.
What is
That's
that
that's
gonna do
okay.
for no, I get it, but what is that gonna do to a relationship?
If somebody has more intrinsic value, they're going to feel better about themselves. They're going to be a better version of themselves. That's going to elevate the relationship. Just like if I'm going to improve on, like, say I have, a great diet, you know what I'm saying, and I'm healthy, but I want to elevate it even more. It's no reason for me to even eat better or work out differently because I'm already healthy. But if I want to elevate it even more because I know I want to reach a goal or reach a plateau that's going to make me even happier, even though I'm already in a good space, that's going to bring more value to the relationship. Sometimes
Because
it's just it's an intrinsic value. The other person may not see the rationale behind it, but if it's an improving that person, then why not?
but do you see how much and like I said, educate yourself all you want, but my thing is that if you go back to get your master's, you know how much time you take away from your family for that? You're talking about diet to school. Those are two different things, because
Right.
diet is something that you do on a daily basis. You're just going to choose better food to eat right to stay healthy and be that. What is that? I understand with the whole intrinsic and extrinsic thing, but time is valuable in a relationship as much as possible. Now, if you're going for your master's, then that means every week you have to set aside approximately about 15 to 20 hours worth of studies. That's
Mhm.
15 to 20 hours that you take away from a relationship that is established.
Yeah, a big part of relationships though too are, um, and I can say this in my relationship, like I have a passion for acting. And this passion takes me away at
Sure.
times because I'm putting hours into this and leaving and stuff like that. But that's a big part of a relationship too, is supporting somebody that has you supporting somebody's passion, even though that may be dividing the time and causing less time in their relationship. If in fact, then it is a delicate balance too. You know what I'm saying? You can't be selfish with that. But time sacrifices, financial sacrifices, whatever type of sacrifices do occur, and there's ebbs and flows in relationships. And as long as you're all on the same page about it, it can work. If you're not, if one person's bitter and pissed, then no, that's not going to work.
That's the key word right there. Both are in it. So that's the
Yeah.
thing, is that women need to also understand, is find out what the man is, because you're the one just making this big decision. If the man's against it, it's done. That if that's the thing. It's going to cause problems if the man can't go on board with. Just as if the man decides to want to do something and the woman's not in it as well, you can't force somebody to be into something like that, especially the sacrifice of them and hours. I get it. If the woman is saying yes to it, and she all that stuff, she wants to support the man to go to school, or the vice versa, then go ahead and do it. But I think that in the end, women need to first understand is that women and men, I'm sorry, before I get killed again, women and men need to understand that you need to be able to figure that out before the marriage, because those are all financial things. School is financial things. You're going to add financial burden to the family. We're already talking about, you don't want to, most of you guys don't want to get married to a girl who has financial debt, right? You rather choose the low score. Each one of you guys chose the low score because you can fix that compared to financial debt. But yet you're going to allow her to go to school to then now give you financial debt. But it's okay now because you're married, right?
I mean, let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving.
Let's hear it, JD.
Hey, real
I'm
quick.
just saying. Look, you guys answered that earlier on. You guys just walked into that.
No,
into that
I didn't. Honestly, I didn't walk into anything. Yeah, I have that answer, and I agree with it as well. But if you look at a relationship as the way, okay, this is how I feel you view a relationship, Myk, is inherently adversarial. It's me versus you. This is my thoughts. This is what I think. This is what you think. This is how you have to this is how you make this relationship work. This is how I make the relationship work. I think there's a lot of blending that needs to be involved in a relationship in order for it to work. There's so much give and take. I think there's, Jeff spoke on intrinsic value. I think that is something, like, I can speak from my previous marriage, that when I had someone who undermined my ability to do this show that I'm on right now, that was something that I did not like. When I had someone who did not allow me to be the person that I am, a person who did not allow me to express myself in the way that I wanted to express myself. And I think that those things are invaluable. You can't put a price tag on that necessarily. I think that if you have that outrageous amount of debt, it's a drawback. It's something that's going to be difficult to overcome, but you can overcome it. And if that person is worth it, they're worth overcoming those obstacles. I think that there's all sorts of obstacles that can be in front of you, and you have to determine if that person is worth getting past those or not. And I feel like Myk, you set up a whole lot of barriers to entry in a relationship, and that once you finally find this person, this perfect person, I think you're gonna look in the mirror and it's gonna be yourself.
Oh no, that's a perfect assessment, and I can definitely agree with what you're saying for that. But number one is I don't believe in perfection. Number two is that, once again, there's nothing wrong with me deciding if a woman wants to go in debt with me, wants to go in debt with something, because like I said, I'll choose somebody with $75,000 in debt over somebody who has a low credit score. So I'm perfectly fine with that with a particular person. What I'm just trying to say is, time for me is more valuable than money. You see what I'm saying? Like, we can
Now,
fix a credit
I totally
score.
get that.
We can fix a credit score right? I get that easily, but that takes time. Whereas me, the money part, let's just hustle a little bit. We can figure that as well. Because for me, wise, if I'm in a relationship with somebody, you're spending 20 hours a week doing this stuff, and I can be supportive, right? But the thing though with that is you're taking away from time from us. And at the very same time as, listen, do you want to go to school or do you want to go on vacation? What do you want to do? What can we do with this money? What can we do with this so that we can enjoy ourselves and be together? Is going to school as important as us spending time together, as us being able to take vacations, to be able to go out of town and all of those things? That is where I'm coming from. Not about perfection, because there's no such thing, and anybody who chases perfection is a total liar to himself. So, but I can see why you had that assessment, because it can be seen as that way, but it really is time for me. And I think that if I'm in a relationship with somebody, because I've lost time enough from previous certain things, that I want to be able to spend every single moment to be able to enjoy together.
I get you now, bro. I get you.
Yeah,
I get you. Thank you for explaining that way too.
no problem. But yeah, it does look like I want perfection, but it's I ain't perfect. I don't have no 6-pack abs.
You're not 6'6", Mike?
I'm not 6'6" either. I'm 5'11". I barely made 6 foot tall. I can't even lie about that one. I had a girl told me once. She's like, I thought you were gonna be 6 foot tall, and I was like, I thought you were gonna be prettier. But
shots fired.
We don't get everything we want, do we?
Sheesh.
So basically, I'm putting all this together. I'm making something out of everything that was just said.
A gumbo of sorts.
Oh, yeah. With slicing. And what I'm coming up with is that it is okay, ladies and men, coming out of a relationship and being in a relationship, to go educate yourself. It's better to do that than to resort to smoking crack. But if you can educate yourself on why not to smoke crack, then you really winning. That's what I got from all of this. I might be a little off, but that's what I got.
So John, so you're saying that 10 years in school is better than being a crack addict?
Oh my goodness.
Exactly. That's what I got from all of that. Education, choosing that over crack, because crack is whack. Yeah.
I hope Mike would say. I hope Mike would say in that scenario, education is the lesser of two evils.
Hey, lots of smart people addicted to crack. So I'm just saying.
You're right.
Hey,
actually,
you ain't telling no lies there.
They end up getting addicted because of the school.
They got to stay up.
Exactly. Need that crack.
Oh my goodness.
Stay up till the crack in the morning. So saying.
Oh wow. Beautiful. I'm digging it.
Dave, can I do my quote of the week?
On that note, we're gonna take a pause for a second here. Man. Yeah, we're gonna
oh, look what happened. He got kicked out. Do the quote of the week. Do the quote of the week.
Quote of the week, Jeff.
He pushed
You're
that
on.
button.
Oh, you got something on the screen. Look at that. You got me a ticker. You got me a ticker on the screen. So jump off live fans. I want to bring start doing a quote of the week, because for those of you that know me, I'm a lover of words. So I love quotes too. So I'm going to try to bring some every week. This quote that I have this week, I just want to get you guys' initial, thoughts on it. We're not going to have to spend, tons of time on it. And also folks in the chat, I want to know what you think about this quote too. This is actually a rap line by a rapper by the name of Ransom. But very profound quote. He says, you can't open, this is very apropos actually of our conversations today. You can't open new doors with old keys. I repeat, you cannot open new doors with old keys. Now that key may slide in there, it may fit, but when you try to turn it, it ain't gonna open still.
Come on,
it may be close, but it ain't quite. You can't use the old key.
You can jiggle and wiggle it all you want,
Yeah.
but it ain't gonna open.
Shaped the same, or you think it's shaped the same.
What if you got some WD-40?
Nah.
No, okay. Okay, how do you think that relates to our conversation today, then, Jeff?
Well, I'm talking about our series and relationships. I just think
okay.
it goes down. It boils down to. I think that a lot of times when we're in relationships or in the courting phase of relationships, we take data from previous relationships and use it for our current situation. And I say all that to say it's not a situation where you should go into relationships blindly, you know what I'm saying, as if you haven't learned anything from the past. I think there's times though when people bring too much of that data, download it, and try to apply it to the current relationship where it builds a wall or it kind of shields them from making progress in the current relationship. They're trying to bring them old keys to unlock these new doors.
Right.
And I don't think that works.
Yeah, that part of you or the part of the quote and your explanation about the baggage, man. I
Yeah.
feel like that's so hard to do because that baggage is what makes us. You
Mhm.
know, we are baggage. We're everything that you know, our previous experiences have brought to us. So it's tough to not bring those things in. I think the key, you know, is to bring those experiences in, but not allow them to completely cloud your judgment of a person in the relationship that you are trying to be involved in. And I think that a lot of times, you know, I've been guilty of doing that myself, that you're really quick to go back to those old hurts, those old things that triggered you before. In a new relationship, when those things come up, it's real quick to get hurt just like you did before. And it's so important to be able to take that hurt and learn from it, but also not continue to drag it along with you at all times. So it's a lot of nuance in that. It's a lot of nuance, and it's a lot of you have to be able to learn to ride that line between, you know, learning from your past and not letting your past dictate your future.
JD, very powerful, man. I think what makes that baggage useful, that silver lining that Jeff always talks about, is if we use the weight of that baggage to make us stronger. Lifting it, building yourself up by carrying it and becoming stronger. You just got to put it down at some point.
There you go. True.
Anybody else got anything to add to the quote?
Well, I think
Profound words, wisdom.
I know. I feel like I have to like stack it. I'm gonna say something stupid or something like that.
Hey, you could just say right.
Yep. No, my thing is, I think with baggage, it is, unfortunately, it does happen a lot, and I think that one of the reasons why a lot of people end up bringing baggage from their previous relationship to the current one is because they never change their routine. They always end up like finding the same person. Like, you know, it's they don't change it. Like, you know, sometimes you see guys with pretty much the replica girl all the time. And then you wonder, like, why do you keep on going for this girl? Like, you could tell the type of girl he wants. It's the same exact thing you see for women sometimes. It's like you're straight up dating the same dude. And, you know, I'm not much of a laws of attraction secret type of person, but why is it that that's what you're opening yourself up in? So you have to change your patterns. You know, I mean, there's the people who have patterns. The moment that they break up, they want to find another person right away as a replacement. There's the other people, you know, I'm sorry to say, ladies, go back to school to find the same person again in the middle of the relationship. And there's just so many patterns that if you change your pattern, I feel that there is a higher potential that you won't have to feel, because if the pattern's the same, you're going to apply the same pattern to this person because it's a perfect puzzle. And that's the thing. It's like nothing's perfect. And also, don't go for the same pattern. You know what they say? You know, if you're expecting a different outcome, right? Doing the same thing, that's just stupidity. And so you just cannot do that no more. I mean, like, change the type of guy that you're dating. If a woman's complaining that every man she dates, she's like, because then you don't want her to associate that all men are dogs. No, it's just the men that you date are a bunch of dogs. Same thing for the guys in relationships. If you're going to be dating broke women, guess what? You're always going to date broke women because that's for some reason what you want. Because some guys sometimes, unfortunately, there are guys out there, ladies, who will target women who have a more broke mentality because they feel that they can one up these women by saying that I control you because I have the money. And that can be a problem also. And that's why financial is important to talk about. But some women, if they have poor financial, literacy, they might not want to talk about it. And it's the same thing for a lot of guys. A lot of guys front that they're rich, but they're actually not.
Yeah, we live in a society where everybody
Oh.
got the bag.
You know what, too?
They portray that.
If I could say something real quick, I think a lot of people, and a lot of things that I speak on, are coming directly from my previous experiences and coming out of a marriage and being single for a little bit and jumping into a new relationship. You realize that reinvention, so to speak, can go too far. Like, I know other people who have completely become a different person after they got out.
That glow up.
Right.
Dave.
But no, not like Dave and changing, his hair and all that type of stuff. I'm talking about completely different personality, completely different mentality about the way they go about things. And I think that's dangerous. I think that's not necessarily always the best thing. And like, I speak from experience. After I got out of my marriage, I was different, and I was willing to try to be someone who wasn't exactly my authentic me. And in essence, during that phase, I was able to see, and I'll just say it, like, I was more of an asshole to people. I tried different techniques to see how that would come across to different people, and I learned that wasn't me, and it was difficult for me to not be myself. And by doing so, I was able to find a person who was perfect for me. Once I realized that, man, I'm out here doing something crazy and, trying to be something that I'm not, that what I realized is that I needed to circle back and find who I really was. And once I was able to find who I really was, then that law of attraction kicked in, and I was able to find someone who was able to, meet my needs, and I was also able to meet hers. So, so the long story short, I think that a lot of people take that reinvention part a little bit too far sometimes.
So JD, so you're telling me that you were like Steve Urkel and you turned to Stefan?
Yeah, I turned into Stefan that was slightly more of an asshole. And it was only towards women. There was a lot of bitterness that I had built up. There was a lot of, I'm not going to let someone do what was done to me before happen again, and that I was going to take charge. And I think that what I was able to learn was that that's not always my personality, but you need to be able to find a blend of both. There needs to always be that take charge attitude. There needs to always be that that assertiveness, but there also needs to be that understanding, that listening, that kindness and that tenderness to balance those out as well.
Hey, are y'all listening to this in the chat? Everybody that's viewing right now, this is the only place I know of where you're gonna get true transparency.
I didn't even. Yeah, JD is. We're really close, and I didn't know that. I didn't know about that piece of it.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not. I wish. I know Katie already went to bed, but if she was on, she would speak to the fact that I became a kind of an asshole for a little bit.
Yeah,
and it was all part of my growth and my development, though, and I'm glad that I went through those ups and downs and was able to come out on the up and up.
Interesting, JD. JD the asshole. You need to put that in your thing there. We should put that down in now. You should put your new tag name, JD the asshole.
Or
Yeah, I'll
reformed,
change it for next week. I'll change it for
former.
next week.
Former.
Right.
Former. Yeah.
The evolution of an asshole.
The ever expanding asshole.
But see, like if you can have the perception of being an asshole like myself, then it's like you're never gonna change, you know? It's all the same. Because then people just have always the perception of this about me, and then so it never changed. Like, be like, well, you know, if a girl ever calls me like you're an a-hole, I'm like, well, you said that when we first met and you enjoyed that. So what are you talking about now? What do you thought it was thrilling when you first met me because I'm upfront and I tell you what you want, and then what? Oh, you wanted to change me. Oh, I get you. Well, guess what? I never changed. Only you.
I think a lot of people do. I think a lot of people do take on like challenges in relationships. Like I want to change this person. I want to break him, or I want to break her. I want to mold them into this or change them into that. Like the more you try to do that, the more people will buck that system real fast and in a hurry.
JD, when people start doing that, think like I said earlier, a man is only going to change when he's ready to change. So when you think you got this hubris attitude, you got this ego to think that you can take on this project, that's going to backfire like Dr. Frankenstein on you.
And if your man is more than 27 years old, don't expect to change him. Frontal lobe has already been healed, lady. It's all done, ladies. You're not going to change a man. Can you do some changes here and there? You better be doing some positive reinforcement to do some changes. But women, unfortunately, want to change men without real positive reinforcement. They want to use pain reinforcement.
I'm going to challenge that one, Myk E. Are you speaking, because it sounds like you're speaking in general terms? Like most women, like most. Are you saying most women use that tactic?
Most, as in most. How? So so we can go with basic, specific stuff. So I'm not saying all. So I'm going to say most. Okay, because at any given point, most women wants to do something with her man to change him, whether it's a slight thing or it's something big. But it's never going to be like, this is my man, this is what I expect. But no, it's like there's always like, I want him to evolve. I want him to be better. No, the thing though is what you get is what you get. Now, what you can do is together do something that's going to be able to move it along. But there's a lot of women that unfortunately do want the man to change his way and elevate himself even more. But that's perfectly fine to want it. But that doesn't mean is you cannot expect it to happen. Because what level up do you want your man to do? So that's my thing. What kind of level up do most women want the man to do? There's a lot of different things to do. For the guys, do we ask women to level themselves up when we're with them? Like the moment we're married, I want you to level yourself up. No, we want you to be the same when we first met you. We don't want you to change.
I'm all about growth. I'm all about growth because you're going to grow regardless. And the question is, what direction are you going to grow in? Okay, I think the level up has to continue. It ain't necessarily changing who the person is fundamentally.
I understand. What do you mean by level up?
Just aspire to be a better version of yourself.
What does that mean? Let's see. That's the thing. People want to say the level up, the growth. Let's be specific. What is the specificity that you want to say is the growth?
Improving your health is one specific.
That should have been done.
If
health is maintenance and stuff like that, that's perfectly fine. What else is the growth? That's health is a given in a relationship because you guys want to live longer together. That's a given.
That ain't given. Some people don't give a damn. They just.
I know. I can understand.
Aspiring for good health is not a given in a relationship.
I get it, but here's the thing. That's we're talking about something that should be done together, anyways, because that's a togetherness. But what else of level of growth it is? We can't just use health. What level of growth? Because that's something that's a given that a man should be wanting to do. That doesn't mean he's going to do it, or just because that doesn't mean a woman's going to do it either if a man wants her to do it. What I'm saying is like, what level of growth? Name it. Name several of them.
Healing old wounds. So maybe you come into a relationship and you've scarred because you've been through certain things, helping that person or helping each other to heal certain things, close certain doors that that may have scarred you in the past. Kind of
And
similar
that's
to how Jeremy worked through his bitterness. You know what I'm saying? To heal that, so he can kind of come out of that and realize that that wasn't the way that was going to um, make his new
that's
relationship a
yeah.
fruitful one.
Then unfortunately, there's in regards to that, that is very little that people are going to be able to do that. And so, if JD is able to do that, kudos to him and stuff like that. But in average, you cannot expect another person to heal your wounds.
No. I didn't say having another person heal your wounds again. I'm talking about together.
But that's what I'm saying.
I'm
You're
taking the
together.
things together.
That I
Together.
understand. I understand this, but that's once again, you are using that other person, whether it's the girl using the guy or the guy using the girl. That's a crutch. That can actually, if you bring this is what we just started talking about. Don't bring your problems into a relationship. Don't bring the baggage. And if you bring the wounds into a baggage, if you bring your wounds, which is a baggage, to a relationship, it can be detrimental to that relationship.
But I'm okay.
Before you,
I will point directly to JD. JD had baggage. JD worked through that baggage. I'm sure Katie
I
helped JD work through that baggage.
I just said that that's a
So
very minimal, and that's a very good thing that it's worked for him. But in majority, when it comes to health, especially in mind, you need to cure that before you walk into a relationship, because it takes the perfect individual. And I'm going to say perfect here because it was a perfect match that she was willing to do that with JD. The biggest problem is most people, once again, and this is the thing, and this is health, this is mindset. This is why people need to go to therapy. I believe in therapy. I go to therapy, not
oh yeah,
anymore,
therapy is
right?
key.
But you
Therapy is
have to
key.
go through those movements in order to be able to discover yourself. When I go through a breakup, I don't just jump into the next girl, not even for a hookup. I will give myself 2-3 months to heal, just be myself, grow my beard, grow my hair. I don't give a crap. But that's the thing. I find I have my own ways. But you cannot expect to, because healing wounds is not growth in a relationship. It's a stagnant move in a relationship. Because just like when you heal something, you're staying there. So that's not growth.
I disagree with that.
Okay. So let's
You can
talk about
continue. I'm just saying I disagree with that.
Yeah, I agree. But homeostasis. It's so for you to be able to put yourself back in homeostasis, that's not leveling up. You're going back to your normal self, which is a healed person is a homeostasis. So that's not leveling up. You were actually came in below. In a relationship, you want somebody who's going to be able to, like you talk about, level yourself up, but you are doing a disservice. Any man or woman is doing a disservice in a way. But if you find a perfect woman that's willing to do that with you, then go at it. But let's look at just the basic numbers in divorce and the reasons for it. It sure as hell there's numbers that proves that in regards for what irreconcilable differences is number 2 in regards for the cause of divorce. You there People sometimes go into a relationship thinking that the marriage is going to fix the relationship. There's people you guys probably know that got married hoping that would fix their relationship.
Myk, I don't think that's as uncommon as you speak it to be, as far as like JD's situation that Jeff has been discussing about a woman helping a man, to heal from his wounds or vice versa. That's not uncommon, man.
No.
That
I'm not saying it's uncommon. I'm saying it's a very small case, which is amazing and a very blessed and lucky thing to happen. I'm not saying it's like 1 in 1,000 or 1 in a million, but the numbers are not there in regards for that's how it is as a major thing that happens. I'm just looking at it in regards for numbers. That's why I'm saying it's a blessed thing. That's God's work right there. The fact that you're able to find that significant other that's supposed to do that.
for sure, because I can relate.
Yeah,
I can relate. You know what I'm saying?
exactly. So it's for that stuff. I will go bring the religion in, and most people know I don't talk about religion because I try not to. But that's God's work to be able to find a perfect person that's going to be able to match you for that. But we all know that, especially nowadays, because we're talking about financial stuff, and we can just go back to financial stuff, is that people are using other people for crutches, whether the man to the woman, woman to the man. And we can lead it back to financial stuff. Why most people just look at the reason why, look, rich people more than likely will stay married than poor people.
That's statistically, or
Yeah, that's
Census-
you
that is
throw out a
actually
lot of
true.
stuff. You throw out a lot of
Census-
stuff, Mike.
Cen-
It's hard
Cen-
to.
Hold
That
on.
is actually true.
Census Bureau. Go ahead and look at the Census Bureau. People who has a joint income above $250,000 has a way high percentage of their marriage lasting than people with below 100.
I could believe that.
Underneath
I could believe
that,
it.
just because they're still married on paper.
Yeah, I
Don't
mean,
mean
but
that shit ain't
that's not what
up.
he's saying though. Like, I mean, that's not what he's saying. If you go by the numbers, I could truly believe that.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people have have that money as a backing, and they will settle and they will try to keep their relationship, alive. Now, we're not judging the value of the relationship or how happy someone is. But I could definitely agree that, yeah, people who got money, they're gonna try to keep that money together
because they got more to lose. You're saying, JD? That's the
Yeah.
rationale behind it?
No, oh yeah, no, that can also be a definite factor in why the relationship just remains, because there could be a lot of loss for the woman or a lot of loss for the man, so they try to do that. But then you can just say it's a 50-50 thing. Let's just say it's 50-50. Let's say half is because they want to stay, because they don't want to lose money, and half because, they're just happy. So then we can go ahead and go to bottom half people who are now all of a sudden half stay in, because if they go out, they're poor, they're broke poor, whether it's a girl or a guy, or they stay because they're just really happy. But still, in the end, the numbers still say that if it's below, there's still going to be more unhappy people.
That's some information there. I want to chime in for a second here. Shout out to the chat. Chris just came in late. Shout out to Chris coming in here. He's getting some good comments in here right now. I want to comment on what he said here. We're talking about loves and finances here, and I'll put it on the screen here, JD, where he says, so you're saying it's business over love. This is something that I want to come back to. Maybe I don't know if we're going to have time to discuss it here, because that's going to be a whole nother subtopic. But at the end of the day, here in Western society, in the United States, and then, of course, a few other countries, marriage is a business that we should look at as well, because of the contract that comes in with that marriage certificate that comes through it. And we should look at it as business before love, because that love does fade. But what do you have? Everything else that go along with that relationship. We want to keep that love alive going for as long as we can. But love comes and goes. Beauty comes and goes. But what do you have with that? When you have that business relationship along with the factors that go along to keep that marriage bond alive. Now, I wanted to add that in there because we're talking about the finance, and then we're talking about what Myk E brought the point about how when you make a certain amount of money at $250,000 or more, you stay together, and you're under 100,000 savings, or we're making you break up. What is the number one reason why people get divorced, and what's the number two reason why people get divorced? We talk about here finances. So when your money's right, you taking the number one, two thing out of the equation why people leave, right? So then if you take that out, and then if you don't have money issues, the other irreconcilable differences are not creeping in as well. Now we can throw in anecdotal things like, well, how happy those relationships are. Of course, we don't know every relationship's going to be happy. We don't know that. But the core of it, when we look at those statistics and that numbers there, that makes a relationship go a lot longer. We ain't got to worry about that crap about the bills getting paid, or that the mortgage ain't right, or that person irresponsible and that you're in debt now and you got to figure out to pay the debt before you can pay the bills. Or because of that debt, the kids can't do what they got to do right now. It's so much of a trickle effect, but you have those things intact, people. Man, everything kind of falls into place, literally. Now, not a relationship is perfect, but man, it solves a lot of ish. I don't know if anybody want to add to that or not. I have another question here I want to get to, but I'm just looking at a lot of things here. And it's like, when we look at money involves business, and relationships should be looked at that as well, because here in America, we have such a high divorce rate that we don't look at marriages as a business. And that's why we have so many that's fail as well. Not saying it's the only thing, but it's a factor that we should look into as well. Like me and Myk were talking earlier. Don't want to get off subject. We're talking about arranged marriages and why they work in other countries around the world, and why America has the worst divorce rates. Because the father and the potential husband want to talk, and it's about business first for the family to make together so that they can uplift each other, not having these financial burdens that come about. So that was my 2 cents on that. I don't know if John, JD, or Jeff want to add on to that, or Myk, or whatsoever. We can turn corners on this here.
I think we should answer this question by Chris right here.
What's he got here? Okay.
It says, so the purpose So what's
I
the
see what you're
purpose of
saying.
marriage then? Is it solely to generate legacy in the realm of business terms? Should we transgress into times of royalty?
He's might
Great
pose that
question.
question.
Interesting.
You know what though? Let's go to John. Do you want to touch this first?
Yeah, man, I will. I'll touch on it.
Word to Omarion again.
Yeah, man. I think most people.
Hey, whoa,
Oh,
You said touch, man, so I gotta touch the ass.
wow.
damn near everything, especially nowadays in America, particularly, has some type of business attached to it. I think as it relates to relationships, the foundation should be love. LOVE. It should be love. I think it's love that keeps people together because through good and bad, thick and thin, you know, the thing that keeps relationships together, I think. And when I say together, I'm not just talking about we both live in the same house, we tolerate each other, we say what's up every now and then. I may sleep on the couch some days, and some days I might sleep in the bed. I'm talking about together, real togetherness, where you can stand to look at your partner in the eyes. It's a lot of relationships that are business related where the couple don't even want to look each other in the eyes. That ain't love. You know what I'm saying? It's love that keeps you together. It's love that keeps you gazing in the eyes of your partner. It's love that makes you realize that in the absence of your partner, that you miss them. And you start to realize why y'all even got together in the first place, and you appreciate them. And that's what causes a man to go grab some flowers and bring it home to his woman. That's what causes a woman to, you know what I'm saying, have that meal hot and ready for that man and when he get in from work. You know what I'm saying? It's love. And so, yeah, it is. There is business attached to it, but I think love is the foundation of most good things in life in general, particularly in a relationship and definitely in a marriage. Because if you ain't got it, what's the point of even staying together? What's the point of still doing business unless it's just all about money? You know what I'm saying? But I don't think it's good to stay with a person that you don't love. It's time to move on because there's so much other people and things to love out there that'll make you much more happy in the long run. You'll be spinning your wheels and wasting your time being in a dead relationship that doesn't have love involved. Business or no business.
Yep.
Yup.
Facts. Snapple facts.
Anybody else want to jump in on that, or did Mike do? Did John do a mic drop here? Again,
I might get
always
people
coming
mad,
with
so I
it.
don't know. I don't know if I should
Say it,
talk.
Mike. Say it, man. We know you're
All
a
right.
businessman.
Okay, look, I answered Chris in the chat actually when he put that stuff like what's more important, love or business, right? And I said literally, I'm like, you can't get married to somebody if you don't love them. I think that any man that gets into a marriage because it's a tax haven or any of that stuff, I think that person's a moron. So love is needed in a relationship to be able to get in for a marriage. You have to have that first. And then with that love is to be able to have the understanding that you guys want to create a business together, a business of a relationship, making sure it lasts longer. Hence, a lot of people need to approach their love, their relationship as a business. Meaning that you have to make sure that there's no other people trying to like break in and merge into your company, right? No woman coming in, no man coming in. You want to protect that from a corporate takeover. You want to be able to make sure that your money is right. You want to make sure that there is money growth that's happening because you can't stay stagnant. Okay. You need to make sure that you need to multiply your business. How do you do that? Have kids to be able to have legacy because that is important as well. Because why do you need legacy? Who's going to take care of you when you get old in the United States of America? Medicaid? No one's taking care of us when we get old, people. Medicare is gone. So, yes, it has to be approached in a business, but I'm going to throw in a hammer here. If we start talking about love as important stuff, then does that mean 73% of women who ends a marriage, meaning that they don't believe in love, for better for worse, till death do us part? Yada yada. I love you.
Interesting.
So now are we saying that love, the word love, that people unfortunately don't even know what love really means? Because people throw love so many times. That's why there's all these marriages, right? 50% of weddings end, of marriages end. 73% of those marriages are ended by a woman. So, are we going to say then that those women, their love was fake? So love by itself is important to start a relationship, but mismanagement of the relationship, it doesn't matter if their love was there, it's not going to make it last. Because how many people say, how many people out there say, yeah, I divorced him, but I still love him?
I don't think that the main finances can be a main point of contention in relationships that don't succeed.
Yes.
I definitely agree with that. It's hard. Go ahead.
That's why it's important to approach it as a business, because finances is
yeah. And I mean, I think you need to. I don't inherently disagree with what you're saying. That you need to go into it as a business, or that there's something wrong with that. I think that here's what I'm going to say, and this is going to be kind of personal, directed towards you, Myk.
Sure.
I think that the things that you say sometimes are not incorrect. I think that people view them with a sort of cold and calculatedness to it. And I think if you take a lot of the emotions out of what you say and just look at it strictly as facts, I can understand it. I can get it. That's not the way that I necessarily do things. And I think that I tend to see the lighter side to things, and I see things in more color, and I think you tend to view things in more of a black and white tone, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And I think that you are genuine and true to yourself, and you understand what you are looking for, and you understand you are rock solid in your beliefs. I don't think that that I agree with them all the time, but I love to hear them. And you definitely always open up a different aspect of the conversation that, I don't necessarily always look at. So when you say that, yeah, the finances are important, numbers back that up 100%. I think if you look at people's relationships, that can be a major strain on them. I think that you can overcome those strains and you can overcome those problems. And I think that you need a lot of hard work and determination in order to do that, but it's possible. That doesn't mean that, it's easy. But I think that you can overcome those things. I think that I tend to look at it like, yeah, it could work, where you look at it as 49% of them don't work.
So I mean, I think that's a perfect thing. I think it's that for some people who don't get it the way I'm saying it, it's because it is. I'm just saying as it is. Now, are there outliers? Of course, there's outliers, but it that one right here, you really have to main focus. If you want to be the outlier, you better put your focus in there. The thing though is sometimes it's coming from my mouth, and people don't like the way I say it because I'm stern about it. That does not mean I don't care. That doesn't mean that when I'm with a woman that I'm not a caring, loving person. I mean, I'm sorry. If some of you guys saw my freaking wedding and stuff like that, I made sure everything was provided. I made sure things were being done. But the thing though is that when it's coming from me, sometimes people are like, well, he's a dick, So it's like, I get it. But the thing though is, if a woman is saying to what I'm saying right now, you know how many women's gonna agree to that? A lot. It's just coming from a man. That's why it's a little bit difficult, and it's coming from a person who's a little bit more stern and just more into that stuff. But if a woman says all this stuff, you'll see women saying that stuff always. I need a man to be able to make sure he's having money. All of a sudden, it's not wrong. But if it comes from a man, then that's the problem right there at times. But at the very same time, as each one of us has a different how we deliver things. You figured it out because you just assessed me as much as you can, and you put your assessment, which is good. But up front, people are gonna make their decisions right away what they think. But in the end, isn't it coming from me wanting to make sure that a relationship works? I already agreed that love is the most important thing. I already agreed that I'm willing to pay for things. why is it then all of a sudden it's wrong because I'm saying it? But if I do it by actions, I'm sure every girl would appreciate that I provide the money, that I'm making sure finances are right, that making sure that things are being paid on time. But the thing though is it's all verbal. They want action. But if I did all that and I proved that to a woman, you know how many women are gonna be like, oh my God, he's such a good man. Because isn't that what you want, women? Is a man who's gonna make sure that things are done correctly at home, that you don't have to do much. But because I verbalize it, it's wrong. Nothing of the stuff I said was wrong. Those are needed in a relationship. You know?
Yeah, I think JD summed it up pretty good.
Yeah.
Looking at it from different aspects, from a business aspect and a love aspect, everything that we're talking about, I can personally relate to. Business is important. I believe how you start is how you finish, even in a relationship. And I'm not saying finish the relationship, but the ending part of a relationship where we all, go on to that higher place, if you believe in that. My relationship with my wife started off with love. And because we loved each other and because we wanted to build a legacy together, we own multiple businesses together. But we didn't start off talking about building a business. Actually, I met her through a business, you know what I'm saying? But we fell in love. And then we built something together, and we continue to build with that because we initially fell in love. I'm not looking really to build, the type of businesses that we built together. I probably wouldn't have built them had I not fell in love with her. But it was that love that kept us together. It was that love that inspired us to aspire for more in life. It was that love that brought us together to create the beautiful son that we have. That is the fuel behind driving our businesses. So I can relate to both sides of it, but I think it all starts with love and it ends with love. You know what I'm saying? But in the same respect, starting a relationship off with business, you can be very successful with that. You can be and you can make that work. And it's just different. Everything's different for everybody, in a nutshell. So, but I can relate to both sides of it. And Mike, you do spit a lot of facts. You do. And a lot of stuff you say, I do agree with it. Just like Kevin Samuels, I agree with a lot of stuff that he says. I just don't believe in how he delivers it. And a lot of times a lot of women don't agree with how he delivers it either. And I do have my opinion about him. And I got my opinion about men who say certain things about women in a certain way as well. But that doesn't mean what they're saying is not true. It's just how they deliver.
And I appreciate that, John, and Mike too as well. And I think a lot of times too, we have to look past the delivery at times because we want the desserts, but sometimes that message is coming in the vegetables. We got to eat the broccolis and the carrots, and we don't want to eat that. We want to go straight to the steaks, and then we want to straight to the ice cream, But if someone is delivering that message as broccoli or as cauliflower or, Brussels sprouts, whatever stuff that you may not like, because you want to get to the heart of the meal, though the message is still the same. It's still vitamins. It's still nourishment for us. We got to take it how we get it. So sometimes we got to tear down that wall of how we receive information and not look at the messenger, but look at the message, because we're missing out. Like in this society here, the way we look at it, Charlemagne the God said it too, as far as changing the messages, we wouldn't let Malcolm Little become Malcolm X because of the message. And when we look at the things, we have to be able to look at the person like, okay, I know he's that we're judging, but what is he actually saying? What is she actually saying? And then get it from there. And that's the heart of it. Because what happens is we have that breakdown, we hit one or two words from the 10 words they say, and then we throw the nasty words of this person, this person, that person's bitter, or that person's mean, that person ain't got over it. And at the end of the day, we're keeping that cycle keep going on and on again, So I just want to add my 2 cents on that as well.
For sure, man. For sure.
Well said.
Man, shout out to the chat here before we close out the show here. We're going to do a few housekeeping things before we end things out here. Shout out to the chat. Once again, ladies, I'm putting this out here for future shows. If you want to cam up, I see a lot of women talking. You got to.
That sound a little.
I know. I'm really. I'm trying not to laugh. It's
you got to be specific. You got to be specific about that, Dave. You might
remember gang. Hey,
membership is $4.99 a month. Just to let you know.
So yeah,
it's called Dave's Cam.
No, it's called just fanatics.
That's the OnlyFans page and the Patreon page. No, but for the ladies, we see y'all talking, y'all get into these conversations. If you want to cam up for future shows, just send us the information. We'll give you the link and come right in because we want the ladies in the discussion as well. That brings it so much dialogue because we understand it's like a barbershop. You're hearing the men giving their opinions, different opinions. It's not an echo chamber as you can see. You see Myk giving his opinion. You see JD saying, I agree with it, but this is why. I can see this way here. John saying, yes, I agree with it, but I hear the message here. We're all saying different things here, but we're all coming to the same end of the path of the road right now. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to be better people. We're trying to have these tough conversations so that whoever's listening to it, as well as us here, keep growing and striving. That's what we're here for. I mean, I could be, watching some TV and doing nothing here, but I'm with y'all. I'm here for the love of just having this conversation, these gatherings, seeing my brothers here and putting this uplifting here, So that's what we're trying to do here.
Like and subscribe.
And if the ladies want to be involved in the show, they don't have to come on and feel like you got to be on for 2 hours with us. If you want to pop in, drop a comment, pop back off, that's all good too.
Yeah.
5-10 minutes if that's all you got. And we've already some people saying they're gonna give one of us a piece of their mind, but come with real good intentions. Don't try to come in with the heat like that. We want to have good conversations.
Yeah,
come in with a point to prove.
Yeah.
Stop being mean, Dave. Stop being mean.
Coming
So
in
before we close the shows out, fellas, does anybody have any closing arguments of what's going on for this show here, as well as anything going on in the future here? Let me go to JD first. What you got?
Oh man, we just got through doing a video before this, speaking on the breaking news about the war in Afghanistan, which will be dropping tomorrow. So if you guys get an opportunity to Jump Off Live is not just a channel that's going to talk about relationships. We're not just going to talk about breaking news. We're not just going to talk about sports or anything like that. We're going to do all of it. So make sure you continue to check us out, like and subscribe, and we'll be able to bring some of everything. But yeah, like I said, we talked about the interesting aspects of the impending conflict and current conflict over in Afghanistan, and we had Johnny Dangerous, who is a military man, was able to break down a lot of the viewpoints that a person from his experience is able to share with us. So yeah, it was a great hot 30 minutes. So be on the lookout for that tomorrow.
Good stuff there, Jeff. I was on mute. Good stuff there, JD. Jeff, what you got for us here, man?
I don't really have anything.
Comments?
I want to kick it to so wifey in the chat. This is a question for the Johnny Dangerous, who probably know better. Can you give us a quick update on how Benji and her boo thing are doing? Benji from Body Aphrodisiacs. Do you know how Benji's doing?
It's a lot of new jump offers on the show that y'all might not know, but we also, like JD said earlier, we do a lot of different things, and that also includes we do our own original ads. So we got people that you never heard of, you never seen before. Benji is a proprietor. He's a business figure. I don't know. He or she. I don't. Benji is Benji.
Okay.
They.
You gotta
Right.
pronouns, right?
we gotta run Benji's ad at some point. But Benji has supposedly got pregnant by Master Do You, who was also ads on the show. And so they went and had a paternity test done, and Master Do You found out he was not the father of Benji's so-called love child. So we'll talk about that more later on down the line, and we'll replay those ads so all the new listeners and followers can see exactly what the hell we're talking about in regards to Benji and Master Do You.
Yeah, that's filthy. While we at it, you have an update on fuckboy Quarantine Corey? How's he doing?
Jeff starting the beef.
Yeah,
now,
man.
I just gave the love vibes, and Jeff's just starting beef.
I think what we're gonna have to do is play a couple of their ads back to back, so people know who the hell we talking about.
Yeah, we'll talk about it next week or something like that. Okay.
Yeah, man, it's a lot out there. It's a lot going on. Y'all need to stay tuned and make sure you like and subscribe.
Yeah,
we'll break it down for you.
Yeah.
Jeff, why you start this before the show ends with this heat right now? I thought we were on a good note.
No. I just wanted to see how our how folks are doing that we haven't heard from in a while. So I'm sure Corey got the Delta store out now. You know what I'm saying? So, but that's a different conversation for a different day. Dave, that's all I got for today. That's all I got. I'm out.
You got hate. I see that. Hate. Benji. Mike, what you got for me, man?
What do you mean? Just like last thoughts?
Yeah, final thoughts
I
on
mean,
this here.
Or what you doing? What you got going on,
What
Mike?
you got going on?
Oh, well, here's my last couple of thoughts of mine. For a lot of people that sometimes jump onto anybody that says something, the best listener is the person who can actually transcribe somebody's talk. So one of the best advice I can give people, if something bothers you, that right away, if something hits you right away, that means there's something there you need to look into further. So I always tell people is like, don't listen to what I'm saying, transcribe it. Go ahead and go to the transcription part on YouTube. You can pull the stuff I'm talking about, and I want you to put it down. And then I want you, if you're a woman, hand it to a good friend that's a woman. Let her listen to it. Don't tell her who it came from, and more than likely they're going to agree. The thing though is, I think that people sometimes jump their gun automatically and without finding more further. I mean, just like what JD did. JD took his time to assess me, which is completely correct, but it's seen in a different light. So that's what I'm saying. Sometimes don't listen, transcribe it, read it, and you actually find out that it might be a good thing that you can add for yourself. But anyways, in regards for what I'm doing, starting a new channel, Integrated Men's Network. So it's gonna be a channel like talking about manosphere and then leveling up in regards for business and self-improvement and stuff like that to try to kind of, guide a little bit some lost souls out there, hopefully. And then we'll see from there. But so that's going to be launching on the 25th.
And how can people find it, Mike?
Yeah, right now you can actually search it online right now, Integrated Men's Network. Apostrophe S, you can actually find it. We already actually have our first video that's going to be on premiere on the 25th. So we're going to be doing reaction videos and all that kind of stuff. So it's going to be kind of cool. So,
Sure. Congratulations to you, by the way, man.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Good stuff. I guess I'll give a few closing words here. We actually worked on a reaction video as well regarding the Abba and Preach and Fresh and Fit podcast issue. Me and Mike, we're gonna drop that on there. There's some podcast beef going on in the manosphere right now. There's a disturbance in the force right now, and Fresh and Fit is taking the L's right now, folks. They lost 25 subscribers in 2 days. 25,000 subscribers in 2 days.
25,000 subscribers.
Oh boy, that's what happens when you try to start some beef with somebody. Your arms too short to box with God right now, man. That's what's going on, Fresh and Fit. You can't miss an Abba and Preach, man. Them Canada brothers get it in. So we're gonna drop. Me and Mike are dropping that. We worked on that today. But as always, Jump Off Live 8 p.m. every week. We're also working on giving you guys more new content as well. And like I said, we're opening up the community. We want this not just be an echo chamber as well, but a community. Once again, I want to get the invitations to the ladies. These are tough conversations, but we're having this barbershop of men, but we want the women as well. We didn't have Dr. Zoe because of a certain family emergency, but hope to have her back next week. But for the ladies, once again, if you check this on the live stream or you are watching this on the replay, if you want to get on the show and you want to talk about these things here, shoot us an email and we'll get you on the show as well.
Yeah, we want more parity. We want more parity and perspective. It'll help.
Exactly. Thank you, Jeff. That's what we want here. These conversations, we need the other factor as well. Not just men. We want the women to chime in as well and have these continuing conversations so we all can get better and get to that next level. That's what it's all about. Man, what a good show, fellas. We're coming on 2 minutes to the closing hour here. So I think this is a good note to stop here. Don't you think so?
Yes, sir.
I agree.
Man, I got JD to my side here. I got Jeff to the other side. I got John and Mike below me here. I'm that dude named Dave, and we are out here for Jump Off Live, and check us out next week.